to Invest Insights. I'm Abby Maloney. I'm joined today by Brian McEvoy, the Office Managing Partner and Chair of Government Investigations Division for Polsinelli Atlanta. Brian, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So Brian, we're going to be talking a lot about this new normal that's been created due to the pandemic. And before we get to that discussion, I wanted to start off by asking you, what are some new personal norms that you started during the pandemic that you know you're going to continue into the post-pandemic world?
Well, I think, one thing the pandemic has forced all of us to be a little more flexible with our scheduling. And for me, with 3 small children at home, I've been forced to have a little bit more work-life balance. And I hope that that's something that will transition beyond the pandemic.
While they were essential pieces of legislation for businesses during the height of the pandemic, there is thought that there will be quite a bit of litigation surrounding the PPP loans and CARES Act. As well as the chair of the government investigations divisions, what types of cases are you anticipating to come from this? And how are you and your firm strategizing to handle these new cases?
Well, I think much like we saw with the financial crisis in around 2009, there was significant government enforcement activity following that financial crisis with SIGTARP and other enforcement actions. I think we'll see similar type of enforcement activity around CARES Act funding and PPP loans, which we've already seen in some instances have been fraudulently obtained and fraudulently misused. And, at Polsinelli, we have a deep bench of former federal prosecutors and others that are familiar with these types of government investigations. That, coupled with our deep bench of healthcare professionals, positions us in kind of a unique way to handle those types of matters.
How does handling the challenges of the last 16 months inform you and your firm's approach to those matters moving forward?
Well, as I mentioned, our expertise in healthcare and labor and employment has really allowed us to partner with our clients to navigate some of these issues. And that's when the expertise of our legal experts is most useful. In some of these other areas that have been affected by the pandemic, that include stimulus funding, rebounds in private equity, real estate financing, and deal making. And those things have continued throughout the pandemic. And so we're able to work with our clients while also being sensitive to some of the COVID-related issues that come along with those.
How did handling the lack of in-person interaction and other difficulties associated with the transition to the digital world reshape or innovate your approach to how you handle in-person interactions, whether it be with clients or in court?
Well, we've transitioned our workforce to become more flexible and remote friendly. And that's both from a client perspective and an internal perspective. We're all comfortable with the technology, making our time much more efficient. And I think that the biggest key is just having that flexibility of remote working and being more compatible with this type of interaction than in person.
With your extensive background in healthcare litigation and the industry in general, what do you believe will be the biggest legal challenges healthcare providers and professionals will face in this new normal we find ourselves in?
Well, as long as the pandemic continues, it's going to create some very unique challenges for healthcare providers, all the way from national hospital systems to solo practitioners. And all of that revolves around COVID and potential exposure to COVID, particularly with the rise of the Delta variant. Georgia's no different in passing legislation to protect certain employers from COVID liability. I think we have to balance the liability that may affect providers with their ability to stay in business and provide the basic healthcare needs, whether they're related to COVID or otherwise.
And now that we find ourselves in this new landscape, what is next for Polsinelli?
Well, we are fortunate in that one of our strongest areas is healthcare. And so we've been really able to partner with our healthcare clients nationally to kind of overcome some of these unique challenges presented by COVID. In addition to that, we have a strong labor and employment department that has kind of been able to navigate through some very novel issues that have been created by COVID and dealing with employees, dealing with remote work and the flexibility that we've talked about.
Well, thank you again. That was Brian McEvoy, the Office Managing Partner and Chair of Government Investigations Division for Polsinelli Atlanta. My name is Abby Malone, and you've been watching Invest Insights. Brian, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Hey everyone, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you can stay up to date on the latest business trends from our knowledgeable experts. Be sure to check out the description below for more information on the segment you just watched. Thanks for tuning in.